This video will cover the topic, finding x and y intercepts of a line given the equation, basic. In this topic, we will learn how to find the x and y intercepts of a line based on a given equation.
Can we start by defining what an intercept is?
Sure. Intercepts are the points on the graph where the variable in question equals 0. The y-intercept on a graph is the point where the line crosses the y-axis. And the x-intercept on a graph is the point where the line crosses the x-axis.
Yeah, but how do I get those points if I'm only given an equation?
When a point is on an axis, that means one of the coordinates must be 0. If the point is on the x-axis, then the y-coordinate must be 0. And if the point is on the y-axis, then the x-coordinate must be 0.
So does that mean I can substitute 0 for x to get the y-intercept, then substitute 0 for y to get the x-intercept?
Exactly. Let's do an example. 3x plus 6y equals negative 6. Let's start by finding the x-intercept. In order to find the x-intercept, we substitute 0 for y. Then solve the equation for x by dividing both sides by 3 to reach x equals negative 2. Therefore, the x-intercept is negative 2, because where y equals 0, x equals negative 2. So the graph would cross the x-axis at negative 2, 0. We will use a similar process for finding the y-intercept. Substitute 0 for x, then solve the equation for y by dividing both sides by 6 to reach y equals negative 1. The y-intercept is negative 1 because where x equals 0, y equals negative 1. So the graph would cross the y-axis at 0, negative 1.
So an intercept can be found by substituting 0 for either x or y. When I substitute 0 for x to solve for y, I'm finding the y-intercept. And when I substitute 0 for y to solve for x, I'm finding the x-intercept.
That sounds right. Just to be sure, let's do another quick example. 2x minus y equals 6. Let's start by finding the x-intercept. In order to find the x-intercept, we substitute 0 for y, then solve the equation for x by dividing both sides by 2 to reach x equals 3. We will use a similar process for finding the y-intercept. Substitute 0 for x, then solve the equation for y by dividing both sides by negative 1 to reach y equals negative 6. Therefore, the x-intercept is 3 because where y equals 0, x equals 3. So the graph would cross the x-axis at 3, 0. Also, the y-intercept is negative 6 because where x equals 0, y equals negative 6. So the graph would cross the y-axis at 0, negative 6.
Alright, let me reiterate what we've learned. To find the intercepts of a line, we substitute 0 for x to find the y-intercept, and substitute 0 for y to find the x-intercept. Then we write those values as coordinates for a point on a graph.
Sounds like you really understand this topic.